then after that, there's a bit of a fight scene. Someone gets their leg cut off in one clean swing with a sword and doesn't fall over straight away. And then somebody else.
Oh no!
And then somebody else throws a sword and it lands perfectly in someone's chest. That was just a bit cheesy in my mind. Yeah, it was quite a good thing to have in it, but that'd never ever happen in real life.
Never.
It probably would, but not much.
You just said never.
Well, it'd be hard to do. And then I've got hardcore / badass old guy. There's a guy who gets an arrow to the chest, he just snaps it off and just keeps fighting. And then later in the film, they go to seal up his arrow wound with like a red hot poker, and the guy who puts it into his skin, he punches him in one and then just says, "You'll feel that in the morning." It was just quite old.
You like that?
Yeah. And then for some reason, I've written nice tartan.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's right.
Go all the way to, I don't know, about a third through the movie to realise there was tartan in it, in a Scottish film.
Then I've got speak English, not French, because
You can't read subtitles, can you?
I find it annoying to read subtitles. So I thought that. And then I've got, if it's not a sword, it's a knife, because at one point the bloke pulls out
A knife.
a knife, and I said, "Oh, well, that's quite a small sword." And then Christian turned to me and said, well, he laughed like that a little bit, and then he said, "If it's not a sword, it's probably a knife." So I just wrote, "If it's not a sword, it's a knife."
So now you know the difference, don't you?
Yeah, I know the difference now.
I'm sure you said at one point, Carl, that he's sitting in his kitchen with his knife and fork and goes, "I got my fork and my small sword."
Get me my butter sword. And then I've got tea tray shield. Because when they go into one of the first like big battle scenes, one of them's got a shield literally the size of a tea tray.
How big's a tea tray exactly?
About 200mm across.
Is that your tea tray or
Yeah.
anyone's tea tray?
We'll base it on my tea tray with the owl.
Did it look the same as your tea tray?
It weren't far off. Maybe a bit nicer.
What does your tea tray
My
look
tea tray has a wicker outside and it's got a picture of an owl drawn with it by Alan someone. Oh no, sorry, it's 12 inches around. So the sticker on the back says. And it's a barn owl.
Oh. That's nice, Pete.
Isn't it just?
Okay, right.
And then I've got jousting spear.
Oh yeah!
/ lance, because I found out afterwards what it was called.
I remember that.
The most horrible thing is though, one of my favourite films is A Knight's Tale, which is purely based on jousting, so I know it's called a lance, I just couldn't think.
No, you just said, here's the heavy cavalry with
It's the heavy cavalry
with the jousting spears.
With the jousting spears. And then I've just got dick stab. In a battle scene, they've made quite a big like cut scene of some bloke getting stabbed in the dick.
What is that it?
Yeah.
He's just fascinated by it.
Just like there's like someone fighting and it turns to a different like bit of a fight scene and somebody just gets stabbed straight in the dick.
Was it by a sword or by a small sword?
It was by a sword. A normal sword. And then I've got Mel Gibson, bit odd.
Why?
I don't know, he just seems like he's a bit of an odd one.
Who is he in the film?
He's William Wallace.
You know who he is now, don't you?
So I've got it written down on this page. Then I've got, they say freedom quite a lot.
So what was the film actually about? So is that not a good point?
Yeah, it is, but they just said it quite a lot.
Too much for you.
Yeah. And then I've got, he's not the prince, because there was just a bloke in the cinema who I thought was a prince, and then I found out he wasn't the prince.
It was just another guy and he went,
Is that the
is that the prince?
He just went, no, it's another guy, so I made a note to myself.
He didn't have spaghetti hair, did he,
He's not the
Pete?
prince.
Super
No.
noodle, sorry.
Yeah, but then I've got Super Noodle Prince, he's quite camp.
Super Noodle
That's
Prince.
what I'm going to call him from now on.
He was homosexual in the film as well, so yeah.
And then I've got She's Dead, ? Then It's a Dream.
What's she back to life?
At one point, one of the bearers where his wife dies. she gets her throat slit, and then in one of his dreams, we find out afterwards, she just starts walking about in the woods, and he chases her, and then he realises it's a dream.
Because everybody thought that was a real part all of a sudden.
Hang on. She said, "Oh no, just a dream."
And then I've got quite heavy weapons, sort of hammer, axe, claymore, and mace. Notice I have quite heavy weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's quite a convincing Scotsman,
But he's a bit odd.
but he's a bit odd. Then I've got horses fall over a lot. Just in a battle scene, all the horses fell over.
Not every single one.
All at once.
More or less, it's one of the big scenes. Because they make all these like big spears, so when the horses run at them, they just stick them all up in the air.
So they're not killing the horses are just falling over their own free will.
Some of them died, but there were quite a few that just happened to fall over.
Didn't see one horse just fall over for the sake of it. Unless he was popping a mad wheelie.
Yeah, there's a problem out wheeling. And then I've got betrayal, massive douche. Because one of the blokes he works with all along betrays him and sells him out to the King of England. Then I've got this film is a televisional feast.
Every time I'm trying to do something with my mouth, you come out with something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, just televisional feast. It was quite a good film as of that point, and I thought, yeah, pretty good. Televisional feast. And then I've got can a horse swim? Because at one point he just jumps out of a window on a horse.
Have you found out if they can or not, Pete?
I haven't had time to look it up, but I'm probably convinced they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they can.
Do they put their bums in the air as well, just so they can breathe?
They're not ducks.
Oh, okay.
And then I've got she wants the D, the pussy game's ridiculous.
What's the D?
The dick. She
So
wants
why
the
did you
D.
just say that
I
then?
don't know why I put D. I probably forgot to write the rest of the words.
You get to write the rest.
So wait. Can we just go back?
Yeah.
Why have you put in your review, right, or your notes for your review?
Yeah.
Why have you put down "Can horses swim"? How is that? It's that relevant.
It was just a little fact for me to find out later.
Which you still haven't found out.
No, I haven't. The thing about the she wants the D, the pussy game's ridiculous, is because William Wallace and the Princess of France, the one with the really long hair, they end up sort of like, she ends up helping him and then they end up sleeping together. And so I just put she wants the D, the pussy game's ridiculous.
So it was a game.
No, I don't know why I put gat, well, it's just a term sort of.
He doesn't know why he put any of it, does he?
Right. And then I've got. I was hungry at this point, so I wrote my belly is making one hell of a soundtrack.
Again, why is that part of your review?
I don't know. And then I've got the Princess of France. She's been knocked up by the Scotsman, who's William Wallace. Then I've got midgets running.
There's one little scene.
There's one little scene where before he gets drawn and quartered, there's midgets doing like the sort of comedy act before it sort of warm the crowd up, and then when they have to run off, one of them nearly falls over, and it's just quite funny.
It's like 2 minutes long with that.
It's not even, yeah, it's about a 20-second scene. Then I've got that fruit must hurt. Because when he's being wheeled into the middle of the town to get executed, he's being hit by quite a lot of fruit and veg. And some of that must have fucking hurt.
Not the fact that he has his insides removed while he's alive, and that the fact the fruit was probably quite painful.
Yeah. And then I've got that's a big axe.
Why have you put that?
Because when they lay him on the table and they show all the sort of weapons and tools they've got to sort of disembowel him with, right at the end the bloke goes, oh, we can just cut your head off, and reveals this big axe, and everyone goes, and yeah, it was quite.
So did you?
Yeah, it was quite a big axe. And then when he's getting his insides cut out, I just put pretty brutal, because it was. And then I've got ginger guy, Hamish, fucking scary.
Why?
What?
He's just pretty scary. At the end, when he throws that big claymore onto the ground and then just runs at them screaming, that just looks pretty terrible.
There was another thing you didn't write down, but you did make a point of. We saw a guy at one point, I think it was William Wallace, and he had a ball and chain. And you said, is that a mace, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Some bloke walks in with a ball and chain. And I said, oh, he's got a mace, and he said no, he's got a ball and chain. And I said, oh well, then it's a swing mace.
Like swing ball, but really violent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your review of
They were all the notes I made.
yeah.
And then I've got my pros and cons and my overall PETES out of 10. For pros, I've got good music, good scenery, brutal fight scenes, good story, 8 out of 10 boob. And then cons, I've got freedom, said too much, there's some cheesy moments, could be more boob, and some odd bits being a bucket of fur and face licking rape.
So your cons are a bucket of fur
And face licking rape. It was a bit odd.
What would you have liked to have seen in it then, Pete? what was it missing?
I don't think it was missing much actually. I thought it was really quite a good film.
Just not enough boob.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just changed his score. He's just changed his score to.
So overall, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 PETES.
Okay, well.
That's quite a good review. Braveheart is a good film.
Yep.
I think so too. Well, I do now anyway. I'm Pete. Listen to more of my nonsense like PetesWeek on Facebook and subscribe to us at youtube.com/user/PetesWeek. Cheers, bye.